magazine Veg News by Joe Connolly. Yeah, Joe Connolly is the publisher of that. And right after The World Peace Diet came out, I sent a copy to Donald Watson, the fellow who invented the word vegan. And he was still alive in England. He was 95 years old. And he was still, and Joe Connolly, who was a friend of mine, he had gone to England twice to interview him for Veg News. And it was great. You know, Donald was, chipper. You know, he's this old guy, but they were still taking these long walks in the hills. And he went a third. He called me. He told me he was going to go over to England again for a third time. And he was going to do a little bit longer interview so he could write a short book about Donald Watson. And he got there and he called me on the phone and he said, "Will, I just want you to know, I'm here with Donald Watson, and it's different. He is not walking anymore. He's in his bed, and he's basically telling me that it's time. He's had a great life. It's time to kind of move on. But what he does every single day as he sits in his bed in the afternoon is he has his son-in-law read to him the World Peace Diet. He said, he is saying, now I can go. Someone has written the book that I was waiting for." And it really touched me because I realized in a sense this book is really not my book. Madeline, we kind of joke about it because we were, after Madeline came over from Switzerland, I met Madeline in Switzerland and back in the early 90s, and she came over and I had stopped teaching college and we were traveling around, and I had done so much research into veganism and into our culture and all that, and I was saying to her, I know someone's going to write a book that'll give the big picture of our mistreatment of animals for food. I can't wait to read it. It'll be great, It'll just be so cool to read that book. I mean, someone's going to write it, I'm sure, pretty soon. And so the years kind of went by, and I kept saying, someone's going to write that book, right? And she said, yeah. And finally she said, I think you might have to, if you really want to read that book, you might have to write it yourself. I did not want to do that. I thought, oh, man. But anyway, I finally sat down and just wrote for 5 years. It was a huge work. And changing the tape here. We had worked on this for a while, but we decided to see if we could get the World Peace Diet to get up high on Amazon, because it was always the #1 best-selling book of Lantern Books. They have about 150 books out. It was because we travel in RV and we're always giving lectures, so it was doing okay. But it was like around number 20,000 on Amazon, and which is respectable considering they have about 3 million books. But it still wasn't where I wanted it. So we did this campaign where we asked local vegetarian groups and yoga groups and peace and justice groups, people